All right, everybody, what's going on? We are live here once again on YouTube Live here on the stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed this because we're going to be, as soon as everybody's coming in, they're just taking their last cigarettes. So hope you guys enjoy. We have Sully come in, have Paul Gloseski, even also have the mind mechanic Mike Lizelle. So you'll be watching here soon, and we're all going to be hypnotized, get some of our stuff done, get everything going on. So I hope you guys really enjoy this. So as soon as they get all ready, maybe Mike and I will talk a little bit before everybody gets in here. So that'd be cool. Yeah. So that being said, we'll just do this right here. All right. Welcome back to C4OC Radio, Revolution Radio 2 Mondays. And we are live here at Paul Gloseski's house. Probably saying that right, hopefully.
Say that 3 times real fast.
No doubt. So, so I'm going to sit here and talk with Mike for a little bit while everybody gets their stuff. We're probably going to do some of us will do a shot. And stuff. So,
this is my shot.
There you go.
H2O.
Oh, yeah. H2O. So maybe we can probably explain what's going to probably happen. I know you're not going to make any of us bark like a dog or anything.
No. Not the comedy thing tonight.
Not tonight. Yeah.
Since most of you are all like, well, you're not really freaked out about it. He seems to be.
No, he's always
Paul's
freaked out.
kind of tense about,
Yeah.
Anxiety. Well, that's what we'll have to work on next with him, the whole anxiety thing. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have different issues like that.
Yeah.
But,
part of it's our society today. I was just explaining that to them out there, that we take our natural responses. And, that's all anxiety is your fight, flight, or freeze response. But we've been geared to wire them into everyday responses for things that it shouldn't be. Here's my example I've used for years. Your boss, at work, puts you in an anxious state. Well, normally, if you were to react, you'd fight, flight, or freeze. You get away from them. Well, you can't because it's your job, so you have to stay there. You punch him in the nose. What you're not going to do is you don't want to lose your job, not pay your mortgage, etc. So,
right.
And then to just freeze and sit there and not do any response, which is not people's main go-to anyway. But so you're constantly overriding your natural responses to, and the mind has to come up with alternatives. So what you call an anxiety response is you feeling that where it's not being released. You have an adrenal response to it, will kick into your system, and then it just sits there. So your mind's trying to process it another way. And this is what we've been told to associate that, now we have an anxiety disorder. You have no disorder. You simply have a natural pattern that has been rewired through experiences to something that it doesn't need to be.
Right.
So, but we're taught that, okay, let's take a drug for this, or let's,
Right.
Of course, they want to bump up the sales because they need customers, not cures.
So, I don't think they want to cure anybody. Which is just, it's just.
I get it. It's not that they're the big bad boogeyman, but it would financially ruin them. If they spend $100 million for a drug to come to market, who in their right mind thinks that they want to go out and have you take that just once and everybody be better and them not make their money back? They wouldn't be in the. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I understand the business model behind it and why.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, this morning I had a pretty good show this morning.
Yeah.
Had a pretty good turnout. Had a lot of people watching, and we had we talked a little bit about self-worth, self-filling.
Right.
Some people feel they're not worth anything, so they kind of get down, and they're, that falls into depression and everything else. And I had a couple of female friends of mine. They were saying, I'm tired of this, and people are always using me. And she used radio DJs as I'm just not going to date any DJs anymore. So it's not that. It's just
the problem with generalizing.
You're generalizing. You got a lot of guys out there that are narcissistic. That if they see a pretty girl, they want to get a conquest.
Right.
And then they wind up hurting those people, and that's what these people are attracted to. Is you just gotta. If you want a nice guy, get a nice guy. Right. But look into
what's funny is
what they're doing.
We had this exact talk with someone earlier because she was like, men need to change their ways. When they find a woman they really want to be with, and I put a little thing on the bottom. I said, listen, real men would have ways that would attract. Basically, what I was trying to get across to her was See, she chases these guys that she knows, and this is her internal little patterns that she's developed that she knows she has to go change. They're not behaving the way she wants.
Right.
It's conducive to her.
Right.
And when I explained this to her, she's like, I never thought about it that way. I said, why do you start? It's like if you go to bake a cake. If you want to bake a chocolate cake, you don't start off with the vanilla mix. You know, you buy chocolate so mix, why do you do this with men or potential mates? Why do you go out and subconsciously look for patterns of, well, I'm going to change it? Oh, you shouldn't have to change. Find the one that already fits the mold. Don't shove the square peg into the round hole. You know, it's just.
That's what I told her. She goes, and I said, look, do you think you're going to change him? Because actually, she called me later on and we had a conversation. I said, so your whole thing is you wanted to change his pattern.
Right.
Change who he is. He's an ass. He's always going to be an ass, and you're not going to change that, no matter what you do. What do you mean? I've had, and I told her, my own personal experience. I've had, 4 wives, and I've changed to try to make them happy.
Right.
And that was, they didn't try to change me. I changed myself to fit their pattern, and which I'm a people pleaser. I just want to make somebody happy.
That can be okay as long as, like, I'm the same way. I call it being adaptive. Okay. I can literally adapt to my mate's wishes. Let's get over from the Sully here. I can adapt to my mate's wishes, but it's something I know what my limits are. I'm not going to adapt to a place I don't want to be.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I made those changes to where it changed who I was.
Right.
And then after it's over, I'm like,
which you felt to a negative degree, right? Yeah. Exactly. There's where the problem begins.
I don't like where I become.
Self-identify and say, do I want to go here in the first place?
Right.
It's like if you're going to go on a long trip and you go out, remember I use this analogy all the time. If you're going to go out and hitchhike and you stick your thumb out and a car pulls up, and you say, let's say you're going to LA, and you ask the person, hey, where are you going? And they say, oh, I'm going to Albuquerque. Well, if you get in that car, one of you is going to be unhappy. And people do this with relationships a lot. They don't pre-qualify. Hey, what are our basic, what are we interested in? And sometimes if it's, okay, this person is going to Texas, but I'm only going as far as Albuquerque, fine. You know that maybe the ride isn't the full length, but at least you're taking that portion of the journey. Then you can at least both enjoy that portion of the journey together. That part ends and then something else starts over, but we don't do this in our daily lives. We just kind of throw in, like I said, most of the time we're looking to change someone, and we shouldn't have to. That person should not have to change to be with you, and you shouldn't have to change to be with them. I mean, if you're like a raging alcoholic, or it's something, that if you've gotten together in one instance and then something, then yes, maybe they have a little bit of pull to say, hey, this isn't the way we started off, and what can we do to, but if you redefine your patterns or define your patterns more clearly when you start, you won't have a lot of those problems, There'll be bumps in the road because everybody's expanding. Everybody's always changing. Feelings change, people change, situations change. It's the only true constant in life that there is. So once you get okay with that, I go over this a lot in seminars because we're trained to think the other way. Oh, the dog gets a forever home. I'm going to find my forever love. Everything has to be this long-term permanent. No, it doesn't. You can have periods, and if you're okay and you know that something's going to change, one, it adds more value to what you're experiencing at the moment. I'm not going to be with this person forever. It could be 5 years, it could be 50 years. Most of it doesn't matter.
6 hours, baby.
You will value overnight if you're paying her, well enough.
Oh my gosh.
Man, if I can't satisfy you in 6 hours, man, I'll take 12 and go help.
I don't try.
Sexual innuendo.
I know how to
Audience
find
goes, wait a minute.
That's your problem.
So there's that's what I told you. This is the way that I become now because I've always had to adjust myself. I got to get back to me.
Right.
Get back to what I'm doing, where I'm comfortable, and where I'm happy.
Right.
Because if I'm not happy with myself, how can I make anybody else happy?
And where does that
You're way
start,
too fucking nice to everybody to be happy with yourself.
Oh yeah.
Because and this is what I tell people, where does our self-image first start, period, before anything, before anyone else gives us a suggestion, because that is all really it is when they say, oh, you're too fat, you're ugly, or whatever.
Right.
There's so many different versions of you. I saw this on the web the other day and it reminded me of something I heard many years ago. Jim Rohn said on stage, and he was talking about how there are hundreds of different versions of you. Only you know the one that you have. And it's true. Like I look at you differently than we may see the same physical characteristics in the mirror, but you have an internal representation of you that is based solely on your experiences and your daily thoughts. And then I have another version of you. Chris has a version of you. Paul has a version. So, there's different versions of you.
Mhm.
So the one that really matters to you is the one you create by your daily self-talk, your thoughts. I am this or I am that. So you have to be very careful of what you're programming in there, because that is going to, a lot of what we call these depressions and lack of confidence, is simply things we've told ourselves. It's not really coming from other people.
Right.
It's coming from us because we listen to what they say as a suggestion. Maybe we take that suggestion and then we start repeating it to ourselves.
And nobody judges you as well, except for some scumbag bastards. Most people are going to judge themselves harder for whatever mistake it is they've made way after anybody else has let it go.
Oh,
You
yeah.
still got it in your head.
Well, we're our worst critic. It's like me telling you all the time, stop saying you're an idiot.
Uh-oh.
Because you're not. Because really, you're not an idiot. None of us.
And sometimes we're just projecting what we feel inside because of the self-talk again, and it's coming out verbally. I feel like an idiot or whatever.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you feel like one. No, well, I'm just an idiot. I'm just.
We're plenty of chairs, so
I was just going to sit on your lap, Holmes. Don't worry.
It all.
that's all right.
Hey,
Take your
Greta.
chance.
Now that does bring up one thing, we've talked about, and I haven't been on the show in a couple of weeks, that, with you, and I won't mention another person's name here that we know, just because I'm not going to put their business out there unless they want to talk about it.
Sure.
But everybody's feeling this heaviness right now. I mean, people that are normally very, very happy people. I've had hundreds of calls in the last couple months alone on people saying, Mike, I'm normally a very happy person, but I'm depressed. I'm this, and I can't shake this feeling. And that gets into a little bit, it kind of gets away from the brain energy part of it. But I've talked about, and you said this made sense to you, and I want everybody out there to pass this on. If anybody's feeling that, and you feel like you have no reason why, well, it's because there is maybe no cognitive reason that you're dealing with. But all of us on a spiritual level, whether you believe in an extended consciousness or not, the whole world right now has come to a point where it's been concentrating on, we, for the first time in a long time in history, collectively have no clue really what's going on or what's going to happen in the next couple months.
Right.
We think and we're hoping, but really and truthfully, the last year has taught us that, hey, things are way out of our control as far as what we, and we've come to a very conditioned life that has been, regardless of what most people think, yes, we all have problems in different countries have different problems, but it's been pretty demure and easygoing for a long time overall.
Oh yeah.
There haven't been any huge world crises.
I'm not going to sit on your drink, man.
And now everyone is feeling the effects of that. And on a consciousness level, it's just like I was telling people, 9/11 just passed. 9/11 was a huge demonstrator of, if you guys out there, if nobody's ever looked up, look up random number generators and what happened to random number generators on 9/11. It was one of the first time in history that this experiment came about by accident, that truly random number generators all of a sudden on 9/11 for a short period spiked to not just producing random numbers. That became a pattern, and not just to one of them, but a bunch of them worldwide. And this continued because the whole world turned their eyes on the same event and had very, very strong feelings about what was, whether it be positive, negative, or whatever. There hasn't been anything in modern history that has caused us all to do that. I think they said the last time was like the moon landing, and even then, limited television audience, and it wasn't the entire world. But that collective consciousness part of us, this whole thing, this worry, people being out of jobs, losing their homes, losing their vitality, being worried about sickness and disease, all together at the same time, has brought this heaviness that what I call the universal consciousness has spread it out. So people that are normally very strong, very full of energy, even myself, I just know how to battle it a lot more conducively than most people do, because I felt it too.
Way better than I fucking do.
Way
better than I fucking do.
One is when you realize it's not coming from anything maybe directly in your life. A lot of you have very valid concerns. You're worried about your jobs. You're worried about, loved ones and this, that, and the other. But at the same time, we had this added full collective of dread that's out there that is being
and then it's one thing after another. The world's on fucking fire. Everybody's rioting, burning shit down. It's like, settle the fuck down, dude. We have the cold. See, that would have been the alien thing, that Ronald Reagan bullshit, where he said, sometimes I wish a fucking ET had come down, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, if we face a universal threat.
A virus. What the fuck else?
It's a universal threat. Yeah.
What else is,
but see, there's the whole thing to it being an unseen enemy. They're we don't know. There's so many ifs and whatever. But regardless of whatever your stance is on how it all began and whatever. That's not the part that I'm dealing with here. The part that we're trying to deal with is, hey, listen, quit thinking that there's something wrong. Okay.
Yes.
And if you just look at it as I am now becoming a conduit for that balance to the people that maybe it would overwhelm them, you know, maybe there'd be a lot more suicides if it doesn't spread out among the collective consciousness.
And that's the
it's
thing.
like water. Look at when a dam goes,
that
that pressure has to spread out evenly.
They're not
Then
telling
maybe
you that.
it can hold.
They're not telling you about the suicides or the more
Well,
domestic violence that's been going on, because
some people mentioned it.
man, my stepdad worked a lot of hours at Kaiser Steel. He's a mean ass drunk. When he was home a couple hours, he whooped the piss out of me. That dude ain't even got that outlet, and he's getting that money sitting at home, being pissed the hell off, and a worse father, and putting his kid and his family through. All of that shit has something. I believe that's way worse than what these numbers are.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of.
They just released this 10,000. That's it.
This is affecting people mentally real bad.
And nobody's talking about it.
It's hurting them. It's hurting them bad.
Oh yeah, I was talking to my. That was last week, I think. I came over. Well, it was before I went on that trip, so it was a couple of weeks ago. I was feeling really just bogged down. It's just like I don't know what I'm. And then you told me about all the emails and stuff. I'm like, wow.
The biggest thing, it's like when you get an encounter group, all of a sudden you realize there's all these other people with the same feelings.
Right.
And part of just not feeling alone. But when you realize that, hey, you are normally that stronger person, you know, with a lot more energy. So that flow that you're feeling is a balance that nature's providing.
That's
you know,
that's the difference to me between you curling up in a little ball and going and getting 6 prescriptions from some jackass doctor, or having a couple bad days and getting the fuck up and trying to do something about it.
I've had bouts of depression, and I'm not a depressed person at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's worn on me.
We're all feeling the effects of it. I don't know one person that doesn't have a soul. If they, you know.
Well, regular life was pretty goddamn. I mean, it was a little bit of a struggle to begin with, but damn, with the end of the world on top of you, or whatever the fuck is really going on. I mean, a little bit more stress.
At the end of this conversation online, I think the funny thing was because she was going through something, you know, a couple thousand miles away. And she was just blowing it all out of proportion in her mind, you know. And she said, "Mike, well, I've known you for years, and I've hardly ever seen you really down." And she goes, "How can you just take things so easily?" And I think my answer blew her away. And I said, "Well, the way I look at it is, why would I want to take it any other way?" And there was this big long pause, and I said, "Did I lose you?" And she goes, "No, I'm just really pondering on the depth of that statement." She goes, your mind really does work that way, doesn't it? I said, "Yeah, because I've established patterns that, one, I'm in complete control, not of what happens to me, but of how I feel about it."
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And if I want to make something a huge deal, I can. I could stub my toe and think, you know, when I was a kid, I thought a skinned knee was the end of the world till mom blew on it, you know? And then that relieved, well, carry that into your adult life. Is minute you start accepting of, hey, yeah, there's some bad things that can happen, but you know what? I'm the one that determines how I feel. I mean, look at me. ALS, cancer, divorced a couple of times.
Man, they tried to kill you too.
You know, and everything, I think some of your viewers have seen me on before. Every time I'm asked how I'm doing, you know, what's my answer? It's been that same thing for 25 years. I'm still kicking.
Yeah.
And I laugh, but it's
man, you look healthier than I do, goddammit.
To remind me to get up. And you know, that is one of the benefits I think cancer especially has given me is I get up and I'm happy to be breathing. I've got another day to create, you know. Oh, yeah. I may get a bad poker hand. I may get
how long did you do? How long?
I'm going to play cards.
Did you decide to do that like for the first year? Were you like, I'm fucking dead, dude?
Never once. You know, when the doctor told me, it was 2009, we were sitting in the office and my wife at the time, Luca, went with me. And he said, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma and you have about 18 months to live. And I burst out laughing, literally. Not in shock or anything. I figured something was coming. I had this bigger lump on this, you know, thing had grown from here to. And he said, "You find that funny?" I said, "I find it incredibly funny that you think you know how long anybody has to live." And I said, "And why would you want to give that information?" "Well, most people ask." And I said, "Well, I would never ask a mortal." Right. You know. I said, "And I will determine how long I have to live, basically." And I believe that, you know, and I'm a firm believer in a lot of what you believe. I think I told you guys last time, one of the last times I was on the show, my dad, living proof, he's had same cardiologist had quadruple bypass at 40 years old. Okay. Swore I'm never getting another, you know, I'll never have my chest cracked open again. So had a couple catheters and all, but here 10 years ago, I think it was, right after I was diagnosed with the cancer, he said, they said, "You have about a year to live." His heart was to that point, it was bad, you know, it was arteriosclerosis, hardening the arteries, all this had happened. And my dad literally looked at the doctor. He says, I'll die when I'm damn good and ready to die.
Damn straight.
Well, last year he had another, what they thought was a massive heart attack. And get this, when the doctor comes back in, and I've got these pictures of the x-rays or whatever at home.
Man, they look crazy.
He sent them to me. His heart grew a new artery, a bypass. It did its own bypass. The doctor's never seen this. He sent it out to doctors around the world. They've only seen this happen 2 or 3 times ever.
Wow.
So what?
And they have no idea
so
what
did he
causes it.
smoke like 5 packs of cigarettes a day and drink whiskey?
No,
What did he
never,
do?
Never.
Nothing.
He's never smoked. He's never. It's
That
just,
might be good. That's probably a big one there. I'm sure.
oh, he's got a very strong heart, but even more so stronger. And he believes more than anything that now that he said, "I'll die when I'm damn good."
I
ready
don't
to
care,
go."
man. I'm waiting.
He's so
till-
stubborn about it. He's never changed that view. So
The last person that pretended not to like me, I'm gonna make sure I'm there when they blink and die. You can say goodbye to me. I'll be done.
Stephen Hawking's, when we talk about the ALS, one of the few conversations, through the ALS Foundation that we had over the years, we talked about the ALS. And that Stephen was diagnosed very young age, like when he was 19 years old, and it progressed, he held it off for a few years. And then, but think about this. Even with Stephen, it got to a point where it was just one muscle in his cheek, but he stopped it right there because he simply flipped the switch and said, I'm not losing contact with the outside world. The whole physical wasn't important to him. His mind was.
Hey, he
And
can
he
ride
wanted
his
to
own
wait-
little cart around, Jack.
And he said, I'm not losing. And he found value in his life still of being able to think, and not being able to do all the physical things actually gave him more time. He didn't even have to, prepare food, do anything. Now, most people would think Stephen was, if you actually talk to him, it released him to do nothing but think on his ideas and let his mind, go amazing places and share those ideas and formulas with us. So, to him, it was kind of liberating, but he did stop it at that.
Well, he's
one
like
point
one of
in
them
his
dudes
cheek.
that's like Tesla to Einstein to him. Those are dudes that were decades and decades of beyond what anybody was doing. Still on a lot of the shit all them guys did technically.
Oh yeah.
Let me break in here, man.
Uh-oh.
You'll break in. Your arms getting tired.
No, I'm sitting there drooling over this shit. And I'm like,
Cheers.
look, time.
All right.
Love you guys.
All right, chicken. Oh, you got water. Okay, just check.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Damn. Whoa.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Making
hello.
my mouth go.
Oh.
My mirroring neurons.
Steve's like Chaser.
Got
Chaser.
the old chaser.
No, I
You need a
almost stole his
chaser.
shit. Ooh, I didn't.
I was gonna say, damn.
Look at me, man.
On the
I-
rare occasions I do ever drink, and I mean it's literally like a couple times in my life. I love tequila, and I love.
Hey,
just straight-
man, when you
no salt, no lime, no
Oh,
nothing,
yeah.
just tequila.
Oh,
I
that
could do that for you
Jim
too. I
Beam
got some
apples.
of that up there at the bar.
Jim Beam apples.
I'm good.
But yeah, getting a little bit back to where you were saying about your outlook on stuff.
Mhm.
Chris would get mad at me sometimes. How come you're not more? How come you're not upset? How come you're not this? How come you're not that? It's because life is what it is.
It ain't
We
because
can-
I'm
we
upset
can-
at you. It's
Yeah,
because
well, yeah, it's just.
I know you, but
But it's just like I'm just like I kind of don't care anymore about what.
and
that
this is another part of it.
when it starts knocking on my door, then I'll worry.
Exactly. And why should you before that point?
Well, yeah, but
I'm gonna go
if I
get
can't-
tested
if I
because
can't
I'm not
change it-
sick, and I want to see if I'm sick. Man, fuck you,
Well,
dude.
no, it's
No, I'm
even
not.
that.
I don't
mean,
care
if
if it's
I
a free
don't-
test or not.
You
Get
know,
out of here. It's stupid. It's
if I
not
can't
logic.
change something, why am I going to worry about it?
Well, and everything's perspective. If you
Right.
can't change what's happening, change your view on it.
Right.
My son, I think, told you years ago. He called me when they were in Key West first time he went to jail. Dad, I'm in jail. And then he gets out. I'm homeless. And I said, you mean you're without 4 walls and a mortgage? No, I'm homeless. I said, son, you're in paradise. Is it raining? No. Okay. Is it warm? You cold? No. You got something to eat? Yeah. Okay.
You
so
got
you're
a
without
marker and a
4
piece of
walls and a
cardboard?
Go around
mortgage.
the world,
You want to come trade? I'll give you the $5,000 a month mortgage.
You got a
I'll
marker.
go sit in paradise for the next couple of months.
I'm gonna tell mine. You got a marker and some cardboard.
home.
Get a busy intersection.
Yeah. And there is it, but the minute you start limiting your beliefs or limiting your thoughts, guess what you have? You now have limits. You build your own jail cell.
Even
Oh,
when,
sure.
yeah, because
Yeah.
you said something
So
on
you
that
build-
first
you build
show.
you build your own glass ceiling, and you're going to hit it because you put it there.
He says something on that first show about if you say you're not going to do this again, it's like
still putting the
you're
negative
basically
words out in there.
leading into doing it again by saying it, which sounds weird. But then when I start
Well, and the
thinking, about it,
subconscious doesn't tend to deal with negatives
Well,
either.
the problem is most people don't really know how to use words. and how to structure them, that your subconscious mind takes them a different way. That's why I learned NLP.
Yeah. It's just like the whole cake. Remember I said when diets, and that's why willpower usually doesn't work. Because your subconscious exists for two reasons: keep you happy, keep you safe. So it's looking towards positives, right? That's it. That's basically all it operates.
So all them people.
Now, when you tell it it's positive for you, okay. So if you say, "Well, I don't want that cake," it ignores the don't. So now take that statement over and over and over without the don't. I want that cake. I want that cake. It's telling you yes.
Man,
when you're saying no, well, you're concentrating on it. So to it's programming the RAS, your reticular activation system, to go want. That's all it hears.
All these
that you do want it because you're telling it you don't. It ignores the don't.
Hey, that means all these advertising agencies and all that bullshit. That is exactly what they've been doing for a long time.
Oh yeah, sure.
The key
You ever watch
word
a commercial and you get
over
hungry after it? That's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Man, I have never
simple.
had not one goddamn burger. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man, that shit is really up there.
Oh, there's subliminal everywhere, and even things.
We should have listened to Roddy Piper. Goddamn it!
Yeah. you look great. You look like your head fell in the bean dip.
That's
1947.
I don't want to.
I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass.
Yep,
Full
I'm
of
all
bubble
out
gum.
of bubble gum. All right.
Okay, so so now that we've kind of established what's going on and what and all that other stuff is.
Covered world topics
really-
and bullshit.
So people
all
that
that.
haven't been before, I had
Oh,
a
you
couple
good
weeks
enough,
ago or a
dude.
couple shows back, I had went through some patterns and even some mild trance with Chris and Paul to get them to get rid of their smoking habits. Now, here's an important factor, because a lot of people will, and they can both tell you, they walked out of that the day with very diminished. Well, I'll let them tell the specifics of it. From what I've heard secondhand, they really cut back on it. Now, people would say, "Oh, so hypnosis doesn't work." Well,
No, the hell it don't.
Here's the big thing: it's not always about an instant quit or anything else. Okay, and I've never. A lot of times, as a hypnotist, people come to you and then they think that we have an expectation that you have to stop or they have to tell. I tell people, listen, we deal in the real world. We know that. One, we're not trying to make an excuse when we say, well, you're just not fully ready to quit yet. We're not trying to excuse. We know hypnosis works. I've been doing it 37 years. I have no question. I've seen, thousands, tens of thousands of cases of things I could quote to you that when I'm getting ready to tell you about the audience about what
The
happened.
medical one with the 10 people on stage, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I remember
there's all kinds
this.
of things
Yes,
like that. I don't need the
that one.
reinforcement. When I say that to someone, I'm trying to get, because the minute you limit yourself and say, well, this doesn't work, well, of course it does. Both of these guys have found out one thing from their experience, that they didn't even think before that session that they were capable of cutting back at all. Now they know they are. So now it's a matter of redefining for themselves, why are they starting to reuse or re-pick up and there are multitudes of different reasons why people will do that. Same reason you created the pattern in the first place, you can also recreate or reinforce the pattern. I've had people come to me, quit cold turkey, and then 2 years later pick up a cigarette. I'm smoking again. I'm like, and they say, I need another session. I said, no, you don't. Your mind already knows how to unlock that and stop it. So go look for that. I'll help you facilitate it if you can't find it on your own, but that doesn't mean it's not in there. You do the work anyway. I've never.
My whole thing was
I don't make anyone quit smoking. I
5
help them find
times
within themselves how to do it.
since I was 14. 5 times that people have tried to hypnotize me. 2 times that Anthony McCool's dude, and 3 times it was psycho, whatever you want to call them, therapist when I was a juvenile, because these people were stupid and I was all right. But
and you went in there with a I'm not going to be hypnotized anyway.
Well,
right?
I don't trust people at all. So, but I mean, they tried the little Twilight Zone wheel and the music and the little bullshit going back and forth. I'm like, man, fuck.
See, that's all Hollywood hypnosis.
And also, the other thing was, I don't want to cook like a fucking chicken neither, okay, man? And I don't care what nobody says. That's what we knew from hypnotism. They always make, but they always do that in every show.
You know what's funny? Is in 37 years and even the comedy, I've never done that. Never ever.
Man,
I've done.
Hey, you got to do it to somebody,
but I've never had someone.
I'll pick them.
I've always left them with a very positive experience for it.
Well, see, I trust. The thing is after hanging out with him just a little bit. I mean, and honestly, last 2 weeks, like when we were on his roof and shit, that's really the only time. I mean, we've had little minute conversations but normally we've got people around, but up on the roof, we're talking about all kind of shit. Watching some dumbass driving by, staring too much and stuff like that. But the thing about it is, with the way you are, see, I always got to check you though, because you are way nice. I love you for that too, man. But with him, you know, I was like, no bullshit. I think he might have a chance of doing it because I don't think he's trying to do anything wrong at all. And when you did it, I remember the finger thing, and my dumb ass had to say something. Can you imagine that, people? Jesus, never.
It's a state you control anyway, so you can bring yourself to any level of it, in, out that you.
I felt.
Did you go back and watch your whole? Did you see the?
No,
when your eyes
I did not.
You need to watch it. You need to watch your reaction.
Everybody kept saying
were a lot
like
more under than you realized.
You were so calm, and I'm like, what the fuck are you
You went way farther under than I did. I think that's what part of my problem was. Is I went to a medium level, and because I was having a hard time.
Well, he went from. He got us with the string thing, and then he went over and talked to you. Well, when he said something about the finger, I said, "You trying to make fun of my good finger?" And I thought I pulled myself, but I said, "Man, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna listen to what he's saying." And
there's one point there, Chris, when you did this. You kind of just completely, and then I had to bring you out, and you were actually not coming out very easily. Because I don't think your mind's been that relaxed in a long time.
How relaxed
you got really.
It's never relaxed, man. 2 nights ago, I kicked over my nightstand and everything, bro. I mean,
but you were, and I think it was obvious. I think several people online even commented that
there was
they could
see
the physicality.
I was talking to people that didn't even see the show or hadn't talked to me in a couple of weeks or maybe a month or two, and they're like, "Man, are you high as hell?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not high at all."
Yeah. And you know what's funny? There's been many when I've done stage over the years, both for corporate events, and it's not always comedy, but there's. I've had
them rich people like literally
they're completely out, change their name, all kinds of different things, and yet you'll ask them, "Are you hypnotized?" And they're like, "No." They have no cognitive really, and I can turn around, sleep. They're out like this, and then I bring them back out, and I say, "Now, are you hypnotized?" No, and they'll swear you. They are not hypnotized.
Who hypnotized you the first time?
That happened. I have to go way back on that one. The very first time was at a party with some magicians because I started practicing magic when I was 8 years old, and that was one thing. From the time I was 8, I wanted to be one of two things. From the time I was 8 till almost 18, I either wanted to be a professional magician or I wanted to be a veterinarian. That was my two things. I said,
"Man, you could have hypnotized the animals and made them disappear, dude."
Sleep.
But I ran, and if you read on my website, it's a kind of a lengthy story of some things between. Studying Edgar Casey and a reincarnation thing that happened with a friend of my uncle's. He actually wrote a book called The Life of Carol Beckwith. His name is Bob Snow. He's a detective at the Indianapolis Police Department, or was then. And this guy's total down to earth, and he had a reincarnation experience where he goes in on a dare to a hypnotist, and for the first 30 minutes, nothing happens. Guy's like, nah, see, it's a bunch of BS. He took a tape recorder with him, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, boom, goes into this deep trance, and all this information comes out. And he said, it was like I was a bystander in this, and all these facts came. Well, being a detective, the next 10 years of his life became him getting so upset. He had to prove where this information, I heard it in a broadcast or something somewhere. And I don't want to just go out and look at it. It's called The Life of Carol Beckwith. It'll really, if you don't believe in reincarnation, you'll know that some people have access to information that they shouldn't have, whether it's a reincarnation or whatever you want to believe in that. He definitely had things, and some of the things that happen in there are literally short of what I would call miraculous.
He was like the 70s around some shit, right? Or what?
In the 70s, 80s.
Because I remember the first thing I was thinking was Edgar Rice Burroughs from Tarzan and shit. I'm like, what? Wait, I know.
This is a true life. He now goes on the circuit, and this is what he talks about.
I know. I might have seen some videos.
He said, "I'm the idiot." I laughed at people for years thinking, he said, but after he did his, and I don't want to kill where he got the research and everything he found out, but it was pretty amazing where it all ended up.
Hey man, eventually,
interesting read.
Eventually, we're gonna figure out how to put the links into fucking videos like that. When people mention that stuff, I don't know how to fucking do that yet. And if one of you motherfuckers want to help me, bring it.
He does know how to do that.
Oh, he does.
On the bottom, you can scroll on the bottom of it. Yeah.
That's what I want to do, man.
There's all kinds of stuff we'd have to do in interaction and all that.
I tag too many people and they start calling it something dirty.
Yeah. So, you guys ready? I think I'm ready.
I'm ready whenever.
This.
She's always ready.
Oh, we're all getting hypnotized? Are you fucking? We're all getting hypnotized. Everybody?
She's got that open.
Are you going to quit smoking cigarettes?
Before we start anything.
No,
I'm just fucking.
He's gonna help.
That's fine. You can dim them down however you guys
Honestly,
are comfortable.
that's why I've been wearing the glasses the whole time.
Yeah, 'cause
It's like,
these-
sit here, we'll get
Man,
I know I'm probably glowing to people here.
I thought it was until
See,
my
now
son-
there's a
now
normal
you're
white
not.
tone.
No more like that.
Hey, now you're not home.
All right. So if you want to,
Hey, you know that's
you
messed
take
up.
a seat on this side. Or
I don't
You
know,
guys
man.
can
I'm
sit down, I'm
gonna figure
actually
this
gonna
out. though,
stand.
cuz
Okay.
I want to see this. I'm gonna watch this one.
They
I
can
might
look at
get
my
a
ass
video.
if they
Well,
want.
no, because you're going under too, man.
Yeah, I know I am. That's what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying. I was gonna go back
So
and
you
watch
sit-
the first one.
you might
sit on
but
this
I'm gonna
one.
make sure this shit is
You want to
right.
sit in the middle and have Chris on
We
that
should get rid
side?
of
Okay, are you people ready?
That's fine if you want to.
Oh yeah, we can get rid of that light.
Yeah, that was-
Get that backlight. It's probably all you're really.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna.
So you want
I'm bringing my kids.
to? So Chris, you want to sit on this side of her?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and. I wanna
That way,
make sure
we
get
got
everybody.
a real pretty girl right in the middle of this.
Man,
Now, all
this
misspelled. Okay, we'll do disclaimers. Don't be anywhere if you happen to be driving or something.
Yeah,
and don't listen, because yes, if you are highly susceptible, and 2 in every 5 people are extremely suggestible,
Oh.
you wouldn't want to do this while you're driving everything, because you would have the possibility of falling under. But if you want to listen along, it doesn't mean you're going to go, like they say, clucking like a chicken or anything bad.
He didn't make me do that, as far as I know. I didn't watch the video.
I don't give any
No.
type of negative
No, you
suggestions
did.
at all. I've never done that with people. I try and keep it very enjoyable and a pleasant experience.
This
So.
is gonna be good, man. You motherfuckers better share this shit. Pay attention. You gotta do it. Look,
I'll put
I'm
it
gonna have these motherfuckers watching out after me.
He's gonna have one too.
Hey,
So.
if he makes me cluck like the chicken, call the cops, bro. Tell him he's a racist. Look,
Won't happen.
I got these motherfuckers.
I wouldn't
watching.
betray your confidence.
And
like that.
the blind albino fucking basset hound is gonna be too. I'm sorry, but that motherfucker looks like something out of Hellraiser, dude.
What?
Because of the way his eyes are, man.
She's beautiful. She's just
Yes,
unique.
I love her. Don't get me wrong, but damn, that shit was scary the first time I seen it.
Well, most people don't know how to react to a dog that doesn't have eyes.
Hey,
Right.
but I will
You
say
know,
one
and
thing.
that's-
She saved me from the lizard on the wall.
She saved you from the lizard on the wall.
Yes, she did. She sat next to me.
Cheers.
Like,
That
man,
was a great night.
that was awesome. No, I wasn't running or screaming, man. I like to see stuff. Yeah, it's what you call a metaphysical journey, bitch.
When we're done too, I want to do a little experiment with a couple people,
Oh,
especially Steve-O for a while, because you've been dealing with a little bit of stress and shit lately, a little depression. And
oh, I think I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Maybe I might have a hit in this. It's gonna be fucking red.
No, I mean you got to touch the harp and stuff like that last time.
Yeah.
But I want you to just sit there with your eyes closed
Uh,
and just pluck on it and play and see the difference when you run your strings across those strings on how you feel.
okay.
It is really, really bizarre.
And we are gonna have
Just
Paul play for real too.
how that-
Goddamn it, you're gonna have to now. Yeah.
No, that's all right.
Well, I think that gets
You
into
can
when
do
you,
it.
when you take your body and
Oh, yeah.
you do have an energy
Right.
field. You know this by touching, antenna.
We
on a
did
radio.
The
So when
video
you come
shit.
across a musical instrument like that,
For,
it will vibrate.
Well, they're,
You can harmonize.
the company that endorsed
Frequencies.
me, the company that endorses me, they actually give harps
Is it on that side,
to
or-
people
No,
who
okay. She
have
needs to be in the middle.
issues with
I mean,
depression.
you don't need to see
And
it.
it's a tool
What do you want
that
to say?
helps, and they built one just like that one for my sister, only it was black.
Yeah.
That was custom made for me, it was white.
That's cool.
And man, it
Well,
just
kid,
touching it. You play piano,
Yeah.
right?
I put it-
If you've ever played a harp, I'll let you play the harp and let you feel just.
I played
how-
with them. I can't say I played because I'm not skilled in that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just playing with it.
Right, yeah.
Just playing with it. It is an amazing thing to feel, because most people never have access to a harp ever. Even the music stores, do not touch the harp. Do
Right,
not
right,
touch the
yeah,
harp.
yeah.
You can't touch the
I
harp.
was scared to it, damn.
No.
Even though you had us hooked up with that girl Lyrica.
Lyrica, yeah. Lyrica.
Damn, see, I remember that. It's with a Q, right?
Yeah,
See?
and you're playing a harp that's like the cost of a Mercedes.
Man, I shouldn't even been nowhere within 10 feet of them fucking
No,
things, dude.
that company does not mind. If you've never touched a harp before,
Oh yeah,
you can
Reese,
sit down in
right?
front. Yeah, you can
Reese,
sit down in front of their most expensive harp, and you can pluck on it, play.
They
on
were
it,
friendly
do
to us
whatever.
both times.
They were-
Neither one of us knew shit about harps anyway.
Greatest people on the
First
face
stuff
of the
like this,
planet.
you.
Anyway, look, I am.
Yeah. Where'd you go? Oh, you bastard. You're driving. I said, "No, man."
Yeah, that's right. I'm doing it.
And I can't get on Facebook Live, so man.
Get
how
that
much
bad,
trouble
you know,
can
I'm
I
always
get
so
in?
good.
You guys are lucked out now.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
You should relax this enough.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, I've done the finger thing with you before, everything.
Whoa.
So you guys all know.
This ain't no
He's had the finger. I heard all about it.
This ain't that exam,
This
right?
kind of finger.
Oh, that kind of finger.
This ain't that exam.
I know you were curled up in a ball for 4 days the first time you got the finger.
Oh.
And actually, he's seen the
Be quiet.
with doing a magic trick in front of a friend with just loose suggestion anyway. So
Yeah.
the basic thing I want you to get aware of, and all of you can do this at once, okay, is just close your eyes for a second. And I want you to become cognitively aware of when you close your eyes, how your attention shifts to the inside. You notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Now open it back up and you see how your awareness comes out. This is actually a trigger in the brain. This is one of the reasons that we'll say close your eyes or let your eyes close. It has really nothing to do with sleep. We're trying to get you to shift your consciousness. Okay, it's part of state management. Doing it here, and I want you, it's called fractionalization too. I want you to become more aware now. Close your eyes again for a second. And become aware of your actual brain processes and what happens as you make this transition back and forth. Now open your eyes again and look at me. Because every time you do that, you're actually making a switch within your own mind and you're training your brain to go in and out of that state. And you're becoming more cognitively aware of what you're doing. So go ahead and close your eyes again. Just let them go down and see the awareness shift. Now, another word in hypnosis, keep your eyes closed for the moment. I want you to just use deeper because you know what to do with that. You just go deeper down inside yourself, which is kind of a sinking feeling. You can let those muscles in your neck relax. There you go. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in, everybody. I want you to get top. Just hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now just release that breath slowly. And as you do, I want you to feel every muscle you have from your head to your toes just start to become more relaxed. Every muscle, nerve, and fiber. Same as that conscious shift awareness. Now open your eyes again. Look straight at me. Look at the finger right here. See the difference in the shift in the awareness and how it's becoming more dynamic now. It's actually a state you don't want to be in. Then close your eyes again. Let it drift on down as you take yourself deeper and deeper into that state you were a moment ago. Now that you've seen the difference between these two, this one definitely feels better. We all agree on that. This is a more relaxed, more easygoing temperament. The processes slow down in your body. Your muscles start to feel heavier, which is a good feeling. You can just let all that tension from the day out of those muscles. So we'll start with that. I want you to just become cognitively aware now of a point right between your eyes. I know this may sound weird, but feel your actual hair relax. I know you've never really thought about that before, but just now imagine that your hair is becoming more relaxed on your scalp. And give that a color, whatever color that is to you, that super relaxed feeling. How can the hair, but the hair can, and amazing when you think about it, it just feels looser and limper. It's getting heavier on your head. And that heaviness is now going to spread across the scalp, down into the eyelids. They were relaxed, but now they're getting even more relaxed. They're heavier, deeper. Don't want to open them. You wouldn't open them if you had to right now because it feels so good to go deeper within yourself. With every physical thing, it matches everything else that's going on inside you. And it just starts to blend. Let that go. That relaxed feeling now come across the bridge of your nose. Feel it going back across your ears. And that heaviness feeling just spreads into your shoulders. And actually feel the tension from the day now just lifting out of you as you go deeper and deeper down. Now, just like a leaf floating from a tree as it sifts on the wind. And it just starts to get closer and closer to the ground each time that leaf goes back and forth. Just see now that feeling, that color spreading in your body. Going down into your neck now, your head becomes very heavy. You can either go back or maybe it goes forward against your chest. Feeling even deeper relaxed now as your rhythm of your breathing becomes regular and relaxed, following the tone of my voice. Just go deeper into the state. The deeper you go, there you go. The better you feel. It may even, that's fine. Let the emotion come up. That's good. It actually links to something. Matter of fact, the deeper you go, the funnier it may seem. That little chuckle just may come up from deep inside. There you go. And it may even become start make you laughing a little more hysterically. That's fine. Just let it get more. Because the better you feel, the deeper you go. And the deeper you go, the better you feel. There you go. Deep breath in now all the way down. As just taking yourself, letting that feeling spread across your arms now. Become aware of that relaxation. Moving down into your chest. Physically will it to just become more relaxed, and it will tell the muscles you can now completely let go of all tension. Everything negative, you just feel that negativity just floating up out of you. Now you become lighter and lighter, almost like that leaf floating towards the ground. Each time it back and forth, you feel that color spreading as it goes deeper within you, and you go deeper within yourself. Key here is deeper, and that just goes across your arms. Now you can feel muscles in your forearms relax, and it spreads through your abdomen. What some people refer to as your chakra, your energy points. You just feel all those energies starting to combine now and swirl into this big, nice color. And link an emotion to that. With Steve, it's laughter. He's over there. That laughter just keeps feeling because it's feeling more and more relaxed. Some people want to shed tears. It doesn't matter. It's just link it to an emotion that you find relaxing. Let that spread now across your abdomen, down into your pelvis. It's weird. Don't imagine how much tension we hold in our pelvis area during the day. Just let that feel more and more relaxed. As it goes down into our fingertips, and it's fine. Any of the noises around you just become normal. Take you deeper into the experience you're already having. Just let yourself drift off now, deeper, deeper down. Because as all of you've experienced before, we're talking to that part of you. It doesn't have to think. It doesn't really even have to listen to what I'm saying. It could be 1,000,000 miles away right now. And everything I'm saying makes sense to that part of you that's going to make all the changes that you need and want. And just let that relaxation now go all the way down into your legs, spreading faster. Now you can feel it, that color filling up your legs, down by your calves, behind your knees. Parts you didn't realize you had, just getting heavier, looser, limp, just like a rag doll. As you just let everything go. I'm going to put my hands on some of you now, but just in a way, just let it go. There you go. Even that lap, just completely like a rag doll, like it's just hanging there all on its own. Completely relaxed, loose, limp, completely relaxed. There you go. Not alarmed by my touch, just 10 times deeper. Each time I drop this, Chris, 10 times deeper. There you go. 10 times deeper than before. Just more and more relaxed, deeper down. Just only you as well. Very, very relaxed. Kick back, kick forward, whichever feels more relaxed. Just 10 times deeper now. 10 times more than you were before. Lifting that arm out. Just letting yourself go deep and let that arm completely relax now. Like it has no will of its own. That hand just feeling completely loose, limp, and relaxed. And drop it now, it's just dead. Just like there you go. Let that feeling just spread all the way through your body now as you go deep. Deep breath in. And as you let it out, just feel that heaviness sink all the way there, becoming nice and loose and limp now. Just drifting on down, deeper and deeper within yourself. We're going to walk down that stairway we talked before in your mind. So if we remember that, just walk down those stairs now. Start at the top now that you're that deepest point of yourself before you go down into the center. Before you talk to that part of you that controls everything. Just step down that first step now and imagine it takes you 10 times deeper now than you were before. 20, 30, 50, 100. You're just sinking. The better you go, the deeper you go. The better you feel. And it just keeps going. Now just walk down the stairs at your own leisure, now going deeper and deeper into your own minds. Down into that part that has all the regulation. It does everything automatically for you. It regulates your daily life. Feeling very, very relaxed. So if you want to just crash out. She's like, I'm getting into this relaxation. So
All stretched out.
deepest down now that you can go. Still aware of everything in the room, but everything becomes illuminating. The sound of the fan in the background, all the other sounds just adding to the experience. Just listening to my voice, but not listening at the same time. It's like this magic circle that you just deep down the mind now. And walk into that room where you see that desk sitting that we all talked before about. That desk that has your control figure behind it. The recognition's there. Yeah, Chris, let's get at it. I want you to let that person now tell you, give you an instant update. It's instantaneous. It doesn't even take words of all the things that they've been working on. And the reasons that they've had for certain patterns, maybe having a certain resurgence, and they're now going to let you know instantaneously without any words of why some of those things have happened and some of the areas that you, as a conscious mind, that person sitting in the chair in front of you, can now change and control. Things that you can do differently. Creative centers in your mind are going to open up. Ideas are going to flood in. happy, positive changes that can be made in your life, directions that you can take. This multitude of positivity and flow of things, ideas that can come in what seems like just this huge rush, like a computer making a download, just millions of different little bits of happy information that now open up all these wonderful possibilities because your mind's a supercomputer. It's now operating at full efficiency, just flooding these new ideas and that positivity and all that energy, and you can feel that flowing from your head to your feet, from your feet to your head, faster, up and down, back and forth, just feeling absolutely invigorated, full of energy now. And I want you to, as that person's communicating, that figure is communicating everything that you need to change and the changes you want it to make. And there's no conversation even needed between you two, because you are one and the same. That is a part of your mind. It's instantly going to begin to execute the things that you need now to take hold of in your life to make you feel more in control, more positive, more directed, more connected to everything. There's a lot of things that are out of control, but the one thing that isn't is you. This communication, this center that you have that will always be there for you anytime you walk down into that point. And that figurehead wants you to come visit more. It wants to release any anger that isn't necessary, any of the negative energy that doesn't produce a positive outcome in your life. You can let go of things that just don't matter, other people's opinions, other people's versions of you, like we talked about. None of them matter. The only thing that matters is what you are telling you. You're beginning to become very cognitively aware in the next couple of days, minutes, weeks, and months ahead of this conversation with yourself. And you want it to change. You want it to become more positive. You want it to become more directed. You want it to take charge of your life, communicate with you, work with you instead of working against yourself, which is what most people would have you do. The patterns of the world teach you to work against yourself. Not at all. You have that power. Anything that you've created, you can uncreate, create something else you want. But it starts with that power right there that you say, we created this. So now with that power inside you, you can uncreate and create anything you desire. Your mind in there knows what these issues are. We don't even have to put a name on it. We don't have to know where the patterns come from. All we have to do is feel that creative source right now. And you can feel, I can see by the smile on the faces, I can see by the emotion that your faces are showing, that your mind knows. It's passed you some of that information already. It may not even be in words, but it's in a feeling that you can feel deep inside you. The answer's always been there. The power's always been within you. Now you've tapped into it, that gold mine, that rush, that energy, abundance, that feeling of connectivity in just one, where everything fires just like an engine firing perfectly in line. All those energy centers firing up and down and up. It just flows back and forth. We want to ask those creative centers now to communicate with that figurehead behind the desk, the subconscious. We want it to eliminate or change any pattern that is producing a negative outcome in your life right now. Whatever, it could be on multiple things. You came here today, most of you with one cognitive thing in mind, but yet there's multiples in any of our minds. We have 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And that part of you sitting behind that desk is fully aware of all this. And now you want to give it that every single thing needs to be geared towards a positive outcome. More energy, more connectiveness, more feeling of control, because you are in control of you. You know this on a deep down level. That deep point that you're at right now, that very relaxed feeling, you can go there anytime you want. You just walk down these stairs, sit at that desk, and you're right back in that level of control. Any patterns, whether it be the smoking, what you call a habit, what you now realize in this deepest part of your mind is not a habit, but a pattern that you've told that part of your mind to execute because you needed it. But now the cognitive part of your mind says you no longer need that pattern. You need that part of you, but you no longer need the pattern. You want it to come up with something else that it can switch to that will produce a positive outcome in your life. And ask those creative centers right now, and they'll come up with 5, 10, a bunch of new jobs that part of you can do. When that part is agreed and has transferred that process, just let that become aware of you. You don't even have to signal anybody outside. Just let that feeling of control that feeling of direction, of knowing where you're going, knowing what you want to do, knowing what you want to accomplish, and all of you know that the power within you has always been there to get this done, and instantaneously if need be. Maybe for certain reasons that none of us understand, we've stood in the way of our own progress. But you've all decided to come back for a second time or whatever it may be for you, and that you're going to change that right now. You want the change. You accept it. All parts of you accept this. And they're going to work together like an engine firing on all cylinders. That hum, that harmonious exchange that takes place between all the parts when everything's firing in the same direction. I want you to let those creative centers remain open even after we come back to a full waking state. And I want you to carry that power with you in a waking state, in a sleeping state. When you sleep tonight, I want you to all to sleep more soundly than you ever have. And I want those creative centers to fire that entire time, just firing new directions. You're going to wake up with more cognitive clearance than you've ever had in a long time. You're going to see things that were right in front of you that you couldn't see before. You're going to feel emotions and positivity and direction that you thought were there, but now you know. And you just continue to let those things drive and those ideas flow and these positive changes happen in your life, because this is why you're sitting here tonight with this exercise, because this is what you want. This is what all parts of you want. They brought you to this point. So with all that now, I want you to smile at that person behind the desk. Again, make sure that they put away any paperwork that isn't needed, that isn't on that desk, that isn't a part of your daily life, that affects you and the drive and the passion that you have to accomplish your goals, your dreams, and to enjoy every single moment, to be able to create anything you want and know that you have complete control of that. And as that person goes and files his own and has the big smile and sits back down and nods, I want you to get up out of that chair now and walk back up those stairs with your head high, your shoulders virtually back. I want you to charge up those stairs, coming up, rushing now, coming back into the room. I want you to pop out the top. Feel that relaxation just increase 10, 15 times, even though you're coming back to a more waking state. I'm going to count upwards now. From 1 to 5, when I reach 5, be fully alert. All of these taking hold, taking root, and becoming just your absolute reality now. 1, 2, feeling like a fresh breath of air just passed over your face. 3, feeling a little more alert now, muscles waking back up. 4, like some water just splashed right across you. 5, eyes opening back up and completely in the room, awake and alert. How do you guys feel?
You're sweating.
Shower?
I don't know.
You had some really good. Your smiles and your reactions. That's good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When that and it's funny because people say, "Why am I laughing?" Some people cry. Why am I crying? It's just there's something about the emotion that gets, and it's different for everybody.
That girl I stomped on her foot. I wish I had known I was on her foot. I would have filmed it. It would have made it that much better. Because I was showing them her eyes. I'm like, bullshit, man. I know when a motherfucker's lying about sleeping.
But see, it's not sleep like you experience it.
Yeah,
You know, you're still cognitively aware of everything going on, but you definitely can't compare it to a waking
fuck,
state.
man? Was somebody set my fucking foot on fire? Or what the fuck, dude? Jesus Christ. It's not hot in here. I didn't think it was.
It's because I'm sitting right next to you.
Yeah, actually, hey,
So
good answer.
Maybe that's just so high.
Hey, that's the and you were this close to being the fucking goddamn quote or answer of the night, and she just took it away, bro. Like, right now, bam. Yep, it's gone. Wow, holy shit.
Your pulse rate was going pretty good the whole time you were.
Fuck you people.
Wow.
So, that's not Hollywood hypnosis. That's actual what you'll experience in a hypnotherapy session or whatever. If any of you kind of went along there, it's a lot more direct when a hypnotist is in the room with you and they can gauge what's going on with you and interact directly. But a lot of people think, like I've heard new hypnotists will say, well, I'm looking for compliance. It doesn't even really matter. You know, all you're looking for, the more relaxed they go, and sometimes it takes several different sessions. Some people go completely on their first one. I tell people, don't worry about it. It's like anything else, you know. Some people can pick up a guitar and they start playing almost immediately. Other people have to have 15, 20 lessons. It's your power, and you'll get to it one way or the other. Just don't give up on it, because you give up on that, you're giving up on yourself anyway. It's not the hypnotist. He's simply your guide to get to something that's always been within you. Mm-hmm. You've just basically been using it against yourself and using the power automatically with, you know, like I tell people, it's kind of akin to getting in a car, stomping on the gas and going, oh, wherever it takes me. Usually doesn't end up well. Right. You better grab the steering wheel and drive, or, you know, that power is going to take you somewhere on a wild ride that probably won't end the best. But that is how most of us live our lives. You know, we don't direct, we don't steer. We think we are cognitively, but behind, we're adding all these patterns that produce exactly what we don't want. You know, I mean, look what we even do with the smoking. Why would anyone want to start that in the first place? You know, other than, yeah, you're going, I want to look cool. And you realize when you're older, this is completely fucking asinine. You know.
Right. But my problem was I was allergic to pot.
Yeah. So
I had to do acid instead. All my friends were getting high, and that's why they called me Friar for so long.
Yeah.
When they'd get high, I'd just drop a hit of acid. And that was my daily thing.
So did you pick up the smoking from the?
No, I picked up that younger. I started smoking when I was like 12.
And probably for the reason most people did, because it was to be the cool kid.
My whole family was smokers.
Oh, there you go.
You know, we were campers, we were woodsmen, we were,
So for you, it was like almost a rite of passage or something.
And we'd have we camp in a teepee. Yeah. You know, you've seen pictures of the teepee. We're going to actually do a show from the teepee.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you know, yeah, that was a big part of it.
Split feet.
Oh yeah, that wore me out way more than it did the first time.
Yeah, and that's you going
like,
deeper, because that's one thing when you've had a good session, you will have a little bit of.
I feel refreshed.
I'm groggy.
You feel refreshed?
Yeah.
She's refreshed. I'm like, wow.
I feel like I've had.
I'm not really groggy, but I'm.
When you've done it, and that's the thing.
Just went to sleep.
Sully can tell you that once you've done it a lot, you will actually feel it, because the instruction, your mind will, you'll come right back out, and you'll be back at that full alert. You know. When before your mind's kind of like, hey, I like this. I'm just gonna stay here a little bit, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, no, like when you're saying you come up and you started to feel, I felt my body kind of raise up a little bit, coming up, but it was like I don't want to go all the way out.
Right, yeah.
You know, just like okay.
Like you notice he stayed a little bit more down, and that's fine. I let people. It's the one I love is I'm gonna get stuck. Well, if you ever got stuck in what you call trance, all you'll do is fall into a normal sleep anyway. Mm-hmm. And in all my 37 years, I've had one experience ever, and it happened to be in a stage situation where someone in the audience went under, and we couldn't bring them out. I mean, they didn't even when I went out. I tried everything with her. Yeah. She was under it. You know what? They were like, "Oh, we're gonna call an ambulance." I said, "She's fine. Her heart rate's fine." I said, "Let her sleep. She's gonna drift off." And sure enough, they left her there about 15. The whole audience was gone, and she wakes back up and. She was like, "Did I fall asleep?" And I said, "Something like that." No, and she was ecstatic. She hadn't felt this great in years, and then she started crying, and she's like, "What?" I said, "Let it out." You know, that's one thing I love when people go, "Don't cry." Your body's mechanism is a release. I always go up to people and I go, "There you go, get it out." Ball like, Oh, yeah. And it's funny because once someone's encouraged, they will. And afterwards, like, man, I feel better. Right. I don't know about you. When I was a kid, I'd scream, cry, go to my room, and I'd bawl my ass off. I go to sleep, and I slept the best, and I woke up feeling fantastic, after I got all that out. So, and that's my parents went, get it out. My mom told me that, get it out now.
Yeah. So, that was really good. I mean, I feel good. Mm-hmm. I feel kind of a little bit of a relief.
Yeah, there you go. And see, it's the thing. There's no big white light. There's no. Everything's happening. It's like, and I think you notice the change of like him the day he left. He said, but later you realize, oh wow, and part of it's just your mind making new connections. It's gonna, we stay in this tensive state for something. We're taught to be that way. We literally are conditioned. You're gonna be late for work. You're taught to worry about everything.
Right.
So for someone to come along and tell you, hey, relax, most of the stuff I said there, I probably even people watching one. Nobody comes up and says that to you on a daily basis. Go deeper, relax, feel loose, live. And no, they all say, are you worried about this? Are you going to be on time? Did you have a bad day at work? Because we're conditioned. That's part of it. We're meant to be in a tensive state as far as our society is concerned all the time. Worry. No, absolutely not. Do it the other way, And it starts by you just telling yourself. Now, you can take yourself to that state anytime you want, but most people say, I don't have time to meditate. Sure you do. Absolutely. Because it doesn't have to even be alone. Anytime, I think I've said this before, take 4 breaths. Consciously stop. Breathe deep for 4 breaths at any time during your day. I don't care if you're driving, and watch the difference you will feel. And each time your mind will become better at it, and you'll be able to state change, just like closing your eyes, Quit taking in all of this. The minute you change your bandwidth in your brain, you're going to alter your brain's activity, which will start a different chemical release. It'll come down to a cellular level, because where do you think they get their instructions from? The governor up here. So take control of that office, and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Because most of the time you're just running patterns. And guess what? 90% of your patterns are worry, be tense, fight your natural instincts, don't hit your boss, don't cuss him out, don't run out of the room. You're fighting what's natural for you. So, of course, you feel unnatural when you're running unnatural responses.
Sure.
So,
I think I'm feeling like Chris did last time, just all chill.
Yeah.
Because that was bizarre with Chris last time.
Oh yeah, with Chris.
He stopped bouncing off the walls and shit. Just kind of sat there. We're all looking at him like, dude, we need to call you.
Even this
ambulance
time,
or
you
what?
Oh no, I had to turn the mic up so you could hear him.
Yeah.
Normally he's the loudest one in the room.
Yeah, I know, that was crazy.
And you notice now he just left and he didn't really say a word.
Yeah.
But you didn't see him during. He said, "Go wait till you play it back and watch what he's doing." He's completely down like this, and he went somewhere in his mind. He was nodding big time to things, so he was very interactive in what he was doing in his own mind. So, and you notice a lot of the changes later. Sometimes it'll come out in your dreams. Sometimes you'll have just this, I call it, an aha moment,
right? And
you'll go, "Wow, this thought will just sit." And those creative centers being opened up is a huge part of it, because we really do stifle our creativeness on a daily basis.
Oh yeah.
And that's part of it. It's like I tell people when you're driving. You ever notice that when you're driving somewhere you go every day, you're kind of thinking about everything else but, and then the very second you get into a neighborhood you don't know, boom, you're right back to what's going on right now, because you have to be.
Right.
You have to be a part of that moment. Well, your life's kind of the same way. Almost everything you do is 90% patterns. You go to work the same way, or you go to the store the same way. The minute you get it, so you need to take yourself sometimes, and if you can't do it physically, and use your physiology to do it, then just in your mind, take yourself somewhere different, get out, be aware. And it starts with being cognitive of, am I running a pattern that I run all the time?
Right.
To get out of your comfort zone. We're explorers by nature, and that's where we truly thrive, is when we get into places where it's something different. Even if it's for a short second or two, it still breaks that monotony, and the mind wakes up, and the creative centers start firing once we do that. So.
That was good, because the last time I was watching everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was really. I was relaxed when I was watching everybody, and
But not to that level.
But not to that level.
Yeah.
You're way more relaxed now than you were.
Yeah.
I know you can feel
Your whole posture shows it.
Oh yeah, I'm just like.
Now there's Zap. I think what they call Zap and some instantaneous inductions, and we can maybe do those sometimes. Especially if I don't like to take people there most of the time first. I like them to learn what they call, that's part of like progressive relaxation. Because you're more in control of that. You're more aware of the experience that you're taking levels, and you feel yourself going deeper.
Oh yeah, I did. I felt my shoulders. I felt my hair getting heavy. Yeah. And I was just like.
And sometimes the mind can be put off, because trust me, I can walk up to people off the street and do a handshake interrupt and jerk the hand and go sleep, boom, and it's very dynamic looking. They completely out like a rag doll, and they're totally suggestive but it's not as good for the person when the brain is trying to learn how to control, how the state management, and go in and out of this. So this doesn't look as good for television or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Because I know several TV programs I've been over the years. Well, yeah, we want the person to just go out and over, and I'm like, listen, I'm here for my client, and I really want the person to learn to do this. And part of it's just waking the brain up. Hey, this is me. I can do this. I don't have to be in an intensive state. I don't have to feel stress. I don't have to. Anything can be happening to me. And what's interesting is after you do that long enough, then like anything else, it becomes a pattern. Then your brain executes it automatically, just like that, girl that wanted. Why? How can you have something bad happen to you and not react to it? That's the way my brain works now.
Yeah.
I don't want the negative outcome, so I don't run the negative pattern. It's that simple. I think I told you the big thing is how I deal with, like, my bird that had been with me for 14 years passed away, 2 years ago. And I had a good psychologist friend of mine. Well, you're suppressing I said, no, I'm not. I'm not suppressing anything. I said, I have geared my brain as a function, just like I stand up and it executes 302 muscles, that I don't grieve. And I don't have to. I said, oh, you have? No, you don't. Quit reading those damn books. You said, I don't have to run any pattern I don't want to. Right. And if I train my brain to, just like a computer, if I type in, if, and, then statements, well, that's what I'm basically doing. This is a supercomputer. So when I think of my bird, and I know she's passed on now, my brain goes straight to every fun moment we ever had. Do you see me smile when I talk about it?
Yeah.
Because that's the pattern it's generated. I don't experience grief because grief would mean I have to feel the loss, which means I have to think about the loss. Well, my brain doesn't function that way. I don't have those patterns built in anymore. I don't think about what I don't have. I feel grateful, which they now know from heart science medicine is the most positive state. Do you know that the heart projects an energy field up to 65 feet from your body?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Proven. The brain waves, they say it's about 7 to 8 feet, on the standard that can be measured. The heart can produce an electrical field up to 60 feet from your body.
Wow.
And they now know that it's a main center. There's a reason you say, oh, my heart hurts when you're upset. Well, because it does. It actually feels and impacts. And they can watch now the changes. And it signals the brain to do certain things. Okay.
That's why they put a shield on you when you go diving with sharks, because they can sense your blood or your heart. So they put a shield here that blocks the heart.
Huh.
And when they say that the highest electrical activity that it gets is the minute you actually put yourself in a grateful state. So every morning, that's why I wake up with that mantra of, I'm still kicking. I literally feel grateful. Every morning I wake up to have and create something else. No, I'm not afraid of the transition we call death at all. I don't want it to be painful getting there.
Right. No. Yeah.
When it's the time to transition, I hope it's quick.
When it's die in my sleep, I'll just go to sleep.
Whatever, under a beautiful woman or on top of whichever way it may be. But,
there you go.
If I had my choice to pick, that would definitely be in the top 3.
Right. So you ever kill anybody, Sully? I'm kidding.
No comment.
No comment.
Maybe come close.
For insurance reasons, we have to negate this part of the show.
Disclaimer.
I'm not allowed to talk about open court cases.
Yeah. My lawyers advise me to remain silent.
I have the right to remain silent. Anything I say can and will be used against me.
But yeah, so if I had to tell anybody, anytime you want in a really powerful state, just make yourself grateful about something. Anything. It doesn't even matter if it's made up. Like I said again, many, many times, your central nervous system does not know the difference between real and imagine. So imagine you're grateful about something, and once you put yourself in that state, you'd be
grateful for my food at home. I'm fucking hungry.
That burger already wore off, huh?
Oh yeah, it was like I'm sorry.
We did some Jack and the Crack on the way over, which is very unusual for me. But
that was wow. Everybody's just real chill.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check out Curtis. I can get
What's really funny is he was hot, so he went outside where it's hot, or to get cold.
Yeah, I know.
That's funny.
Because the AC is running, there's a fan right there and everything else. But
they've got these fans going through. These fans are reversed to suck up the hot air from down here.
Yeah. He was really sweating.
He was having it. What do you play back and watch? His reaction was he was having some very intense moments. I don't know what it was, but he's in there just.
Well, he said he's been struggling with something like
he
this.
Was, and I mean, part of him was definitely he was doing the full hit, and it was not a conscious cognitive nod; it was a subconscious. That's why whenever I looked at him, when I took his arm and dropped, and he went boom, he went down pretty. It startled him at first when I grabbed his arm, even though I told him, and then when I let go, he went pretty deep, real quick. And he was being very, what they call animated. He was, but it was from a deeper state. He was very, very, I think that's why now, I think it may have even startled him a little bit that he went that deep.
Yeah. Normally
and that's
probably just needed a moment alone.
Yeah, and it does sometimes. It
No,
can bring up
wonder
this
flat
huge
your-
well of emotion that
Oh,
you
yeah.
didn't even realize you were dealing with.
Mhm.
And when I give generalities, I do it general that way because you know what? If I'm specific, then your mind's going to deal with specifics. If I'm general and I leave it up to your mind, then it will go in there and find, and it may deal with several hundred things from even way back in your all at once.
Mhm.
I've seen people come out and go, call me the next day, Mike, these memories came forward and now and it's all gone. And I'm like, fantastic. Well, how did you know that? I didn't know anything. Your mind knew. And when I gave it that generality, after 37 years of experience, I know that when people, sometimes that's what they need. I don't need to be specific. The mind knows what it needs. And that's part of that no content therapy that the Jacqueline's, that Freddie Jacqueline's done now for like 55 years. And it's quite effective.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, what a trip, man.
Yeah.
I'm still tripping. I'm just like,
Yeah, cool. Enjoy it. It's a good way to be, So,
Well, of course, I've had drugs and alcohol too, which helps.
Yeah. But that just takes your relaxation level down. Too.
That's what I wanted to
Makes
do. I wanted to make sure I was more relaxed because before I had to drive all the way across town,
Right,
drive all the way back
yeah.
across town,
And you were somewhere where you didn't know in front of people.
Yeah, I'd
It
never
does
been
add
there
to the
before. I'd been like, okay, well, we've all been here before. You haven't, but of course, Chris and Steve have. And
I'm relaxed anywhere.
This is
I don't ever feel threatened.
Oh, yeah.
well, we make sure that our house is always comfortable for anybody who comes in.
Very good energy here. There is. It's very
Oh, yeah.
And this is all new to us too, because we haven't lived here that long.
Right.
Again, but it's still a big, major work in progress.
They always are.
Yeah.
The boxes with our stuff.
Yeah.
Too much stuff.
There's stuff under the
That's
roof.
why we got to get a bigger box. Get more stuff.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Little George Carlin routine.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so true.
We're getting rid of stuff. Like I say, I just gave this.
And we get the little mobile box, like I'm going to get on the road.
Yeah, right.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Oh, yes. Thank you
It's
so
always
much
a
for tuning
pleasure
in.
to let me
Yeah.
spread my
Thanks for
mantra
reminding
to the
us.
world.
I remember all the stuff.
You got so relaxed, you forgot your show.
Hey, dang, we're still playing. Okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, please share this video with everything. You guys want to just take a good laugh at us or whatever. That's cool too.
If anybody has questions, post them under that. I do my best to respond
Oh,
to
yeah,
any direct
definitely.
questions any of you may have.
Oh yeah. If you have any questions, hit us up here or
And you give them updates on how you're
Yes.
feeling, and so that
Oh,
way it
yeah,
helps
definitely.
people know that it does help with your progression and
Oh,
things
yeah.
that you're
It's,
before.
I was talking about that this morning. I was really looking forward to tonight's show.
Right.
If you guys want to do this, tune in, watch it. If you're just curious about it.
Yeah. And that's where it all
See what
starts,
happens,
is with
yeah.
the curiosity. It's how I got into the whole thing. I was curious. Same as most people. I saw it at the fairs. Being a magician, I saw, and then I determined, hey, this is the real magic. That other is illusion. This is magic. This is when I was a kid that I thought, the human mind is completely magical. It's amazing what we can accomplish.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I was in high school, before a game, we'd all do these elevator trips. So it's like start up here, then slowly go down, and then bring yourself back up again. Then you feel more relaxed, and it's just like, okay, then you go out there and play. You got this energy to go out and play.
Yep.
And so it's always.
We used to do that. We'd relax. We'd have the peaceful time. We'd come out, and then we'd hit on the shoulder pads,
Right. Yeah.
pump
Oh,
each
yeah.
other up,
Oh.
just go.
It's like, oh, we got to do this. All right, let's do
It's
this.
funny how we don't do that in regular life most of the time, though.
Right?
I do.
Yeah.
I give myself a pep talk every morning in the mirror. I really do.
Really?
What are we gonna do today? We're gonna accomplish that. I have to literally talk to myself.
Uh,
I tell people, don't do it in public. They might lock you up.
Yeah.
But
Oh, there was a little girl on YouTube that used to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, she was
it's
on,
very effective.
She
It's
was
called. I call it my personal pep session. I do
Yeah.
it all the time.
She was on Tosh.0.
Mhm.
She was a little girl sitting on top of it, and her mom videotaped it.
Mhm.
And she's like, "You're gonna do this. I love my house. I love my family." Just all this energy, and then
Instead
they
of just
showed her-
reading affirmations,
Right.
live them, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And then
it's like
they showed her, like, I think 8 years later, she was like, 16,
Yeah.
17, and they showed her the video. She's looking at it, she's like, "Yeah, I don't do that anymore." I put her head down.
What
I
if
thought
she-
for sure you were going to say she was homeless in the shelter.
Yeah.
Oh no, she was just, but
All
you
cracked
could
out.
see that she was kind of a little embarrassed.
No, sure.
She
Yeah,
was- But she was seeing that, and she's like,
But think of
that
the
was
power
just
she
a
wouldn't
real
be, and she
happy
could
kid.
good.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
that was just how she did it. Tosh asked her, he goes, "Well, do you still do that?" And she goes, No, well, she looked at him and looked away,
Mhm.
and it's like I think she wanted to say yes, but didn't want to say
Right,
yes.
right.
Like,
She's
no.
afraid to admit maybe
Yeah.
that she still does.
And so he dresses up like her and tries to do the same thing. Just kind of it was a big
Right.
joke type thing. So
Yeah.
she just kept looking at him like, "You're an idiot."
We're always afraid of what other people think, and I say it a million. I have a big T-shirt. Some other people's opinions don't matter,
Right.
and they really don't. We let them matter, and they shouldn't.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I mean, your loved ones close to you matter a little bit, but
Yeah.
ultimately, your version of you is what's important.
Mhm.
So other people are always going to have theirs.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say it all starts with the person in the mirror.
Yep.
Who you see.
Because that's your
yourself
self-talk, and you
Right.
are self-talking. That's where you were talking earlier. You started off the show with talking about the whole self-confidence thing. Realize that comes from no one else.
Mhm.
That is your self-talk. You're the only one that can talk yourself out of any confidence. People can provide you with the stimulus, but you have to talk yourself out of a confidence state.
Right.
So, and also the reverse, you talk yourself into it as well.
Mhm.
So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
surety and outcome is the very short definition of what confidence is.
Mhm.
So, self-confidence means I'm sure I can accomplish this. And if I don't even know exactly how to do it, I'm sure I can find a way. Is what I tell people. So,
Mhm.
always what I say. Not my saying, and actually, I think Tony Robbins, I heard say that years ago on stage, and I've used it ever since. I've never forgotten it myself. Never a lack of resources, only a lack of resourcefulness. That's
Right.
it. There's
Yeah.
resources in this world to do anything you want to do.
Right.
It's just a matter if you're willing to go out and do the things
Go out
that
and
need to
find
grab them. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
You go through the motions to get there.
Yeah, definitely.
That holds me back all the time.
most of us it does. Fear
Yeah,
and that,
there-
you know.
Well, and so much procedure and
Yep.
this and that, and paperwork to get everything done,
Yep.
to get where you want to be, and everything else like that. It's like you might start off and it's like, oh, fuck this.
Because you're
You
talking
know,
yourself
it's-
out of it.
yeah,
And
it's
when you
just-
want
it's too
something bad
much
enough, it's
crap.
funny how you get it done, you know.
Oh yeah.
No matter what it takes, because
Oh,
you
yeah.
want it. So it's leverage in your mind. Anytime you leverage, and I have to tell people, doesn't matter what you want to do. You do everything you do for two reasons: you need to avoid pain, you need to gain pleasure,
Mhm.
and you will do more to avoid pain than you will ever. So,
Oh,
but
yeah,
you can
definitely.
use that leverage either way.
Mhm.
Leverage yourself enough pain. Look at procrastination as a prime example. I tell
Mhm.
people, know why you procrastinate? Because you link too much pain to doing it.
Right.
And then, I know when I was younger, I hated homework. Hated it.
Mhm.
Straight A student on test center, I would not refuse to do homework. But if I had one teacher, my 5th and 6th grade teacher would scream at me, embarrass me. So I used to, right up to the last moment, I'm like, I got to do this. Miss Jeffrey's going to yell at me tomorrow. So I would link enough pain to her yelling at me in the morning. So, Sunday night, I'm cramming, getting my homework done because I didn't want the scolding. Yeah. So there you go. I simply reversed the leverage of the reason I didn't do it, and now the reason that I wanted to.
Yeah, my folks were out that way. We weren't allowed to do homework.
Yeah.
And the teachers knew it.
Yeah.
They don't bring homework home.
You got to pass, huh?
Well, the way my mom explained it to them is, look, you know what? I work 40 hours a week. When the weekend comes, I don't bring my homework with me. That's time to reboot. If a child can't reboot, how the hell are they going to learn at the speed that they're supposed to learn?
Very true.
Okay, they've got to run that shit off.
Yeah.
There's no reason for a child, an adult, you're at work 8 hours a day. You go home, you're done with work. You eat dinner, you relax, you watch TV, you take a shower, go to bed. Okay, why is your kid still up doing fucking homework? It makes no sense. Even though they're only doing 6 hours a day, it's still the work that they do at school. When they're done with that, they reboot, get ready for the next day. And the same with the weekends. And she was a firm believer of that. And we all turned out just fine.
I was the same way. I mean, I used to always argue with my teachers, when I I tried to reason with them, but they turned it into an argument. I'm like, listen, I ace every test, so obviously I've absorbed the material and know it. Why do I have to go home and spend my time? This is your time. When I'm here, it's, you're spending your time, so I'm here and I'm going with that flow. But I was kind of rebellious about it too. You can't tell me what to do at home, and I don't want to do. As long as I'm making the A's, I'm going to give you negative. Okay, so I end up being a B student mostly because I wouldn't do the homework.
Yeah.
Few teachers were like, fine, as long as you pass my test, And then college was a whole different story. It didn't matter because all it was about the final test.
Right.
So you didn't do your homework, they didn't care.
Yeah.
Where exactly is General Custer going to come up in your everyday work?
Yeah.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah.
okay, it's good to learn
Good to learn history.
It's good to learn
History.
a good amount of history, because it does repeat itself. There's no doubt about that, at least to some extent.
Right.
But there's no reason, unless you want to get into a history subject in life, there's no reason to study it unless you have a passion for it and want to learn it.
Right.
Which I did.
Mm-hmm.
I learned almost all the history that I know. I learned out of school because I had a passion for history.
Right.
I liked
Yeah,
history.
exactly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same with people like math. They'll learn math regardless. They'll go home and want to learn it and everything else like that. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, you learn the math that you need to get through school. How many people are going to use calculus and trigonometry and everything on an everyday basis?
Unless you go into rocket science or
There-
something like
yeah,
that, where
there's
you're
a
going to need
select few-
trajectories. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you won't.
There's a
I took
select
2 years
few-
of it.
Or
But
you run a boat in the middle of the ocean and you have to use a sextant, and you have to have that.
Yes. But I mean,
That's the only way you're going to use it. I mean,
But predominantly, I get what he's saying.
But
And you
yeah.
know what I've told people, I have talked on this before, even on national talk shows, about how our current educational system, there's nothing wrong with education. The difference between education and knowledge,
Mhm.
and the education is more geared towards, just like, I never forget. And I argued, well, you have to choose it. Career day, remember how they, right towards the end, what are you going to do? They start pressuring you. Here you are just turning 18 years old or whatever. And, they want to pressure you. I actually graduated early. I graduated halfway through my junior year. Still, by law, had to attend school. So I came in and programmed their computers. First year they got computers, and I'm programming them for the school to do tasks around there. But where does it say I have to choose anything?
Right.
And they kept saying you have to decide what you're going to be. No. I'm going to be as much as I have time for. And I literally said that. Well, no, you have to, John. I don't know what book they're feeding you, lady, but I write my own script,
I have a real interesting story that just happened the other night about a similar subject. That's pretty crazy. Kimmy and I were shopping early date in the store, and this young Oriental kid, probably in his early 20s, late teens. Well, he had to be early 20s or so. He came up to me and goes, "How long did it take you to grow out your hair?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I used to sit on it when I was younger, but I've never really had short hair, And, he had short hair. He was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe growing mine out just, because, he talked to me about how he was in college and was majoring in something. Then all the Corona stuff happened and everything got all kind of screwed up. But he wasn't really happy with what he was in school for. But he wasn't too sure what to do at this point in time." And I looked at him. I said, "Dude," I said, "right now is the perfect time to reinvent yourself, because everybody has to reinvent themselves right now.
Right.
Everybody had to change everything that they've ever known and how they do it because of the circumstances right now."
Yep.
I said, "So now's the perfect time for you to sit down and reinvent yourself. You could be anything you fucking want at this moment and go for anything you want, because now is the perfect opportunity. It's sitting right in front of you. Do whatever the hell you want to do."
Oh, yeah.
Because he said, "I don't know what to do or where to go or what. Do whatever the hell you want. Right now is the time where you can."
And it's the perfect time,
And it's
because
the perfect
a lot of
time.
people are being forced to make those decisions.
Exactly.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
He's young enough. You know what? I told him, find your passion. Go after your passion. It doesn't matter what it is, because right now, man, everybody has to do it.
There is no script unless you accept it.
Yeah, and
buy into it.
Dude, he
Buy
almost
into
cried,
it.
man. He was happy as hell. He was just like, it's ecstatic because somebody much older than him told him, "Hey, you know what? Fuck what society thinks. Do what you want to do. Right now is the time where you can.
Oh, yeah.
Without any recourse."
Society's never going to make you happy.
Yeah, you want to change
Oh,
your,
yeah, yeah.
you want to
You're gonna
change your
make you
direction.
Society's going to make you change anyway.
You want to change your direction, change it now.
And they have how many different versions of you?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Same with the music industry. We're in the music industry. Okay, you just heard what I've done before IDSFA.
Right.
Which is a shocker to anybody who's ever heard it.
Oh, yeah.
Most people have never ever heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's only one of about 40 songs,
Mhm.
or just a handful of about 40. But anyway,
Mhm.
they freak out when they hear it the first time. They're like, "Who the hell is that?" And there's no way that's you, because they're just not used to seeing me in that light.
Mhm.
But it was a reinvention.
Mhm.
Well, a lot of the bands in town right now that have been around for a long time,
Mhm.
now's the time to reinvent yourselves.
Right.
If it wasn't working for you then, unless you're exactly happy with what you're doing,
Mhm.
then reinvent yourself and come out 2.0.
Right.
You know.
Well, see, that's when I started doing the local uprising show, that's what and I had everybody come in, and I had them do an acoustic, and these are from bands that have never done acoustic stuff. Well, we're too hard for acoustic.
No, you're not.
And then they do, and then they come out and they're with an acoustic, and they're like, okay, this song just brings on a whole nother meaning.
Sure.
Because you have, the hard rock version of it or the electric version of it, and they're just, and the song has meaning to it, but it's a heavier sound. And then when you slow it down and go, okay, here's what we're really saying, and then it brings a whole nother light to that song.
Right.
And I've had someone go, we've never even tried to do acoustic stuff here. That actually sounded pretty good.
Here's the thing that the bands nowadays didn't have to deal with, but back in the day in Hollywood, when we were all playing the Whiskey and the Roxy and On the Rocks and all those places, most of the bands at that time, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, all those guys, they all lived in the same neighborhood, right there up behind the Whiskey. And you know where the Whiskey's at. You've been there.
Right.
All right, you just drive straight on up. There's a whole bunch of apartments right there. Most of the guys lived in those apartments. And
up that hill.
Yeah, up that hill. And what we used to do is the nights that your band wasn't playing, you could actually go to the Rainbow, knock on the back door, and they would open up the door and hand you cheese pizza. That's how your band stayed alive.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, seriously. If you weren't playing that night, you got a free cheese pizza. You just knock on the door. And that's how you ate. But
right below Lemmy's room.
Exactly, right below that second story with the little bar up there and the little alcove, the little nook and everything upstairs. Which I don't know if you did. Did you get a chance to go up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see the little two
small
seats with the like 3 steps up. But anyway, the bands back then, and I'm talking like Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. You were around when Guns N' Roses came out with their acoustic album and everything. Well, guess what? All their songs were written that way because most of the bands over there, they all lived in the apartments. We all wrote and played acoustically because we didn't have the warehouse space and the place for us to jam out. We were either upstairs in an apartment complex. So everybody back then. So I mean, every single one of the bands that are out there, you hear Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, all that kind of stuff. They have a lot of acoustic shit. That's how they wrote a lot of their songs.
Right.
That's how I sit in the back and I write with this, and the material that we write.
Right.
So I mean, it's done
like,
acoustically before it's done.
How do you get that acoustic thing of what you guys do? Shake the baby.
Oh yeah.
That song there's like, okay, I want to hear that acoustically.
We could do that acoustically for you. We could do it.
That is just
Travis has an acoustic bass. Yeah, we can do, bring out a set of congas and a set of bongos. We could do something like that acoustically. It would sound and look funny as hell, but and we'll bring babies to shake too. I got my baby right there.
Oh yeah.
I'll bring that one. I got all these back here that aren't dead yet.
Actually, going to do a Halloween show, they would be the perfect band to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's his mask over there, and they all dress up like that.
That's cool.
And I think
I got to pull the trigger on that one soon if I'm going to do it. I got a couple hundred people asking me about it. So.
What do you want to do?
Oh, we have a big Halloween party at the estate every year. And I've got I actually said last year this is the last Halloween party. I had a good friend of mine pass away that's always like one of the main guys there, and so everybody's like, oh, I guess we aren't doing it anymore. But now like several hundred people hit me up. Are you in the Halloween party this year? And I'm like,
if you've ever seen us and seen pictures of us, you would probably change your mind and say, you know what? We'd be regular. Trust me. we would be regular. We put on a full theatrical stage production.
it's always been fun. It's just a lot of work. It really is. When you get that many people and all, I mean,
no doubt.
we start for, several weeks before, with all the decorations and everything. But the last week is just, we spent an insane amount of money last year. My daughter even got into the spirit of it, and you go nuts. It's kind of like an addiction. You're buying this, buying that, buying, for something you're going to use for one night.
Oh, yeah.
So, But
Well, the thing is, yeah, you can still, you don't really have to go all out. You just say, look, we're having a costume.
we say that, but we do it anyway.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, just come on by. It's all right. Dress up. Don't dress up. Come on out.
No, we have. Yeah, we could definitely put something on for you. That's for sure.
I've got to pull the trigger in the next couple of days. I've had so many emails about it. People asking me, "Are we going to do a Halloween party this year?" And I'm like,
Now you do it on Halloween, or do you?
"No, I do it the week before. I've always done it the
That's
week
perfect
before."
because believe it or not, we've never actually played on Halloween.
Yeah.
Because
Because everybody I know, most of them have kids, and they said they're
Exactly,
always
same
busy, and they've always liked. I used to call it the second chance for your rented costume, or when you get double use. And
Right.
everybody loved it, so my Halloween parties have always been huge. But
I think you would dig us. You have to check us out.
I'm gonna make a decision here in the next couple of days. I have to because
Oh, yeah.
it's basically a month away now.
Right.
so,
Right. Yeah.
Since we do it the week before.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Even Danny from C4OC said, hey, if he does have a party, he goes, we'll come out, we'll film it.
Yeah.
Because they do that on-site media.
Yeah.
They have a drone. And
Oh, yeah.
So they have a drone flying around all the place. And they got several different cameras, and they'll hire them.
One year we had everything, the thing out there in the garden around the fig tree. We had headstones and smoke and animatronics everywhere. It was crazy.
Well, you got a pet cemetery too.
Yeah, I know. A real one.
A real one, yeah.
No, we just have lights, lasers, fog machines, smoke machines, the barrels, smoke machines in the barrels. We got.
We did the skull fireplace logs. We did.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Nice.
There was so much full catered event and everything. Like the hot dogs were these big green zombie fingers, and I mean it's.
I think you would have a lot of fun with us playing. I think that would for a Halloween show, we would be the shit. I think the crowd would go nuts as long as they don't mind being offended.
Oh, I think most of my people that I hang out with really can't offend.
We start off the show with sodomization of Satan, and we go to shake the baby. We're shaking dead babies, and the heads are flying off of them and everything else. I mean,
They give out a prize for the one who shakes the baby the best.
Oh my goodness!
So if you're shaking and the
I don't,
head pops
you know
off,
Doug
it's
Stanhope,
probably
the Canadian is? He's a good friend of mine. So if that tells you the type of people I hang out with,
I think they would.
People get up and walk out in the middle of his show. You're sick, and he's like, yeah, sicko.
Thank you.
My second album.
Yeah, we came up with some pretty twisted shit. I mean, it's and we promised to put on a show.
Yeah,
we promised to put on a show.
Well, the first couple of years I was doing it too. A lot of my, the celebrity friends would show up, and I, of course, never tell anybody who's going to be there.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not going to mention names, but this was a certain A-list celebrity that is well known in film, and somebody was going around and he was dressed as a certain character that he does in the films, and everybody's like, you look like. Then he goes, yeah, I get that a lot. And then several people hit me up later. That was really, yeah. Like, I mean, it's just people when they're here.
What would be funny is if you had Bobby Ellis show up too.
Yeah.
And we're just walking around together, just like, hey. That'd be pretty funny.
Man, I got cotton mouth from hell, son of a bitch.
Dang.
Man, fuck, I'm gonna sit by pretty ass Mike over there. Man. I like this guy, man.
Feel better?
Holy fucking what the damn! It was not hot in here. It was nice.
No, that was you.
Feels good.
That's all you, man.
It was you. You were definitely having an
I thought I was
experience.
crying for a second. I was like, "Oh man, tell me I wasn't fucking screaming weird shit."
No. You
I
were
just remember everything you say. I can hear everything you say.
But you were having your own experience in your mind. You were definitely having a powwow with yourself. I can tell you.
Wow, man, that's never
You were over
a
here
good
going-
thing, dude. You met me. You should see me trying to talk to myself. It's a way.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing. You've got the internal things you need to work out, and only you will work it out for you. So that was actually a damn good thing.
Yeah.
I like to see that interaction.
I love to put my feet in. Man, that water felt cold as a motherfucker for a second. I didn't jump in. I just put my feet in over by the waterfall.
Yeah.
And for like 10 seconds, it's cold. And then it was just.
She's starving. She's hungry.
I was
Oh,
up there.
Okay, well, we'll tell you. We'll end this thing over here. And,
Hey, is that shit even still on?
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
this
it
is
is.
still going.
Oh, what's up, man?
Yeah, we've been having a great
What
conversation,
shit
man.
you assholes got
All right.
figured out, man?
You guys
Oh,
see, we'll
yeah.
see you guys next
See, I
time.
got to go watch the first